Right, welcome back, guys, to the Irvings Peak Performance Podcast. We're on episode 3, and we've got a special guest.
Special
we
guest.
Flew him in from Dubai, especially flew him in from Dubai just for this. So March or 10 week, it's about 10. Have we known each other for 10 years now?
Probably about that, aye.
Why don't you just give a wee introduction for anybody who doesn't know you?
Class.
What you do and so on.
I'm the special guest.
Special guest.
My name is Mark Strathern. Me and Ross actually used to work together in New Age Fitness years back, obviously, as PTs. And then I kind of went on a slightly different path. After I left one-to-one kind of coaching on the gym floor, I then went into online coaching, built my brand that way, and then started working with a kind of mentorship company, helping other coaches build their businesses, kind of like multi-six figures all the way up to 7 figures, but also coaches that were maybe only around the kind of like 50k a year mark. So I worked there for the best part of 5 years, I think it was. And then the start of 2024, while I was still there, me and my business partner, Jen, launched Built to Coach, which is an educational course for coaches that focuses on brain-based behaviour, neuroscience, communication, psychology. Mainly just because we've seen that most coaches, when people wouldn't adhere, would just kind of like react and be like, well, you don't want enough, you need to work harder. Like, I can't do the work for you, like, get a grip of yourself. Like, which works, by the way, that works for some people depending on the niche that you're working with. Like, see if you're working with like high-end athletes and like bodybuilders and stuff like that just need the straight talk straight down the middle of like, this is what it needs to be. That's cool. But the majority of people are working with Gen Pop, and most of the time, and coaches will recognise this now, Gen Pop usually don't adhere because of the things that are going on in their life. So it's like you signed up to become a coach, to coach people around health and fitness, but the thing that's stopping them from adhering to the health and fitness stuff is the stuff that's going on in their life. So coaching is essentially a way to help people guide themselves towards their own answers. So like there's 3 different kind of, like we call it the hybrid coach approach. When it comes to coaching, you've got mentoring, coaching, and teaching. So mentoring is telling someone what's worked for you and has been successful in the past. That could also potentially work for someone else, or telling people what has worked for a successful client. Teaching is obviously giving someone new information based upon knowledge gaps, and then coaching is guiding someone towards their own outcomes. So you would always lead in the health and fitness industry with mentoring and teaching first. And then if they don't do that, you need to then know how to coach, which is basically like the brain that contains the problem also contains the solution. So it's like, how do we help you find your own answer to this outcome? But that's also what coaching should be, because if everyone wants sustainable outcomes with their coaching practice, and for clients 3, 4, 5 years down the line to still be maintaining what they built there or building upon it when they were with said coach, then you kind of need them to be like self-sustainable, you know? So that was Built to Coach. So after I left the mentorship company, roughly just over a year ago, we were then like, right, where do we take this now? Do we double down just on the education stuff, or do I use the skill set that I'd built over X amount of years and from building my own coaching business to then build a fitness business coaching company to help other coaches build their business in a way that actually is right for them? Because I think you'll probably know yourself, most mentorships are just like copy paste, do this, do that. Yep. It's like what they think you should do to build your business and don't really take you into account. And because we've always came from that kind of coaching background, we were like, we know we could do this differently. So we launched, Built to Coach was the start of 2024. Then we launched Built for Business, Built for branding, Built to branding and all that. Built for Business in November of last year, and worked with 15 beta testers from November until May, then launched it publicly in May this year, 2025, and then we combined Built to Coach and Built for Business in August of this year, because we were like, right, if you want to build your business, it's 2-pronged. You need to have good retention, and you need to obviously generate new revenue. Yeah. But most people only focused on the generating new revenue part. And obviously from a coaching standpoint, seeing people come into the business side that really needed the coaching, I was like, I can't really stand for this. So we just made it dead simple and was like, you get it all or you get nothing. And you can just go elsewhere and someone will sell to you something that you think you need, but probably won't actually be the answer to your problems. So that's us now from a combined standpoint, which is now called Built for Coaches. 3 months? Right. No. Yeah, 3 months. 3 months has been up and running.
Aye. Well, like we were saying, like, I think that is a big thing that people do, just focus on the business side. They just want to make more money. It's the whole 10K thing that everybody goes on about and stuff. And when there is that big gap of like knowledge and ability to actually get more results and help people, and that's what's letting them down in their business. Yeah. Do you feel like, well, my experience in a mentorship was quite different. Do you feel like it's different from what you do? It sounds like, anyway. Do you feel like you guys are different from
Country mile. Country mile.
Other mentorships, yeah.
It's funny because like the only differentiation that actually allows someone to pick you over someone else is why you do what you do, how you do it, and what you do. So like the best way I can describe this is people in the health and fitness industry now are not selling new information. They're not.
No.
Like you're not selling new information. I'm not selling new information. The other fitness coaches down the street aren't selling new information. So it's about how do you take that information and how do you create it in a way that you can best deliver that based on your skill set to the people that you're working with to get better results than what other people get. That those people are also happier with. Because I think results, everything is nuanced and complex. So it's like you can define a result by a financial outcome, but does someone feel happy and fulfilled by their business as well? Like that's questionable, because I know so many coaches that have built a business that other people have told them to build, and they've maybe had the success from a numerical standpoint, but they're actually so unfulfilled and tired and fed up, and they're actually questioning like what it is that they built because it's given them zero fulfillment. And I think for us, that's where we are different. It's like we focus on the more like nuanced and complex, like human behavior kind of process behind transformations, but simultaneously focus on a marketing-based conversion kind of system when it comes to like generating clients. Whereas most mentorships now in 2025 probably have been for the last 5 years, they're all sales-based conversion. So what I mean by that is like they sell the call. So it's almost like do 100 outbound DMs per day, do call to actions on every post, follow up with people relentlessly, and essentially when you get people on a call, close them as hard as you fucking can. Whereas that is it.
Yeah.
So our process is actually the opposite. So I kind of like coined this phrase, I much rather create than chase. So instead of chasing leads to work with me, I far prefer using my skill set to create things that are going to solve the problems of my target audience, to attract more people to me, to bring them into my world that then has multiple different avenues of how I can market and offer free value to them, and then basically sell to them based on different kind of like offers over time. So it's all about like front loading. And it's funny because I'll speak to a lot of coaches that come in and they'll say, this is a very different way of like how I've been taught to run my business, because the majority will say, when I get on a call with someone, I can close them, but I just don't have enough calls. If you're saying that, your marketing's the fucking problem.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? So that's why I much prefer front loading and thinking of it more so from like a proactive standpoint. Like if you're proactive in anything you do, let's say you're trying to get a fitness result or a transformation result, you proactively track your calories on MyFitnessPal. You proactively look at what your week worth of food's going to be. You plan what's happening next weekend if you need to cater your calories to social events and all that sort of stuff. That's how you set yourself up for success. But most coaches are very reactive with their marketing, then questioning why they're actually not getting new clients coming into the business when it's fucking obvious.
Right.
But most also become, what's the best way to describe it? A lot of them are almost like paralyzed because they've been so focused on the sales-based conversion machine, given very shitty like content-based strategies. So like whenever I talk to most coaches, they'll be like, I'm told to put up a personal post on a Monday. On a Tuesday, I'm told to put up an educational post. Wednesday, it's client success, and so on and so forth. Whereas we focus more on like principles of marketing. So it's like you design what kind of story you're telling through the principles instead of this is what you must post on each of these days. And we more so focus
less random.
Far less random, mate. It's far less random because there is different. There's different types of content. There's content that will get you more eyeballs, that will speak to like the problem unaware and problem aware sections of your audience. Then you've got conversion based content which is like authority based content, which is to get people to buy from you, which is then the kind of solution aware, product aware, and most aware stages of your audience. Then you do have personal content because you need to like connect to your audience. But it's like we need to create ways in which we speak to these different portions of our audience, attract them to us so that we can sell to people now, but also have a pipeline of people to sell to in the future. Yeah. And that's probably, I know this is me fucking going all out, but this is probably where it's kind of two-pronged, where it's like most coaches want stability and predictability and like long-term safety in their business. But at the same time, they essentially are only thinking month to month. Yeah. So it's like, I want this predictability long term, but I'm only thinking month to month. And because I'm only thinking month to month, I'm only then focusing on the sales.
Aye, so they're not thinking long game.
They're not thinking long game, then they're not thinking about their marketing as a result of that as well. So it's like you tell me you want predictability, but the reason why you've not got predictability is because you're still being so reactive. Mm-hmm. So you need to like flip that on its head. And I always just like to use like the parallel process, because it's like, well, if you're telling your clients to be proactive and do X, Y, and Z, why the fuck are you not?
Yeah, definitely. Do you, taking it back a wee bit, do you feel like, you obviously touched on like sales tactics and all that, the other mentorships and stuff used, like, do you feel like still a lot of that stuff has a place? Because we obviously got taught a lot of that in the mentorship that we were in. We allowed to name names? So like, but we get taught a lot. We all do that, to be fair. But like, do you feel like those kind of tactics have a place of like calls to action and like all that kind of thing.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I think it's business dependent. In all honesty, like there's people that we work with that already have like established brands. And when you've got an established brand and people want to buy from you, you will be able to do call to actions on a far more regular basis. The issue is that a lot of people don't have that kind of like brand awareness, and a lot of people don't really have the leads or the interest to like do call to actions with regularly. So then therefore they're just kind of like hitting and hoping. So I would probably tell someone that doesn't have much brand awareness at the moment, much authority, to do way less call to actions and actually focus on building trust either in public or in private with their audience, and then make offers that way. But someone who consistently gets leads coming through because of their brand, they can do call to actions way more. So yeah, everything kind of has its place. It's just what works for you. Like low ticket works, apps work, high ticket works, like everything works. It's just what's going to be most applicable to you and your values. Like so many coaches will charge high ticket and have no recurring revenue, but they value stability and predictability. So like that emotional roller coaster of I had 8K this month, but I'm starting from zero next month, isn't really the business you should be building if that's not something that you feel comfortable with. And don't get me wrong, there's people that will just charge high ticket and have no recurring because they're so confident that they can close multiple different deals on a monthly basis. But equally, they don't feel like attached to start from zero from the following month. They're kind of like happy doing it because they have like the predictable lead flow. And this is what it always comes back to, is just predictability. Like if you don't have people in the pipeline, then how can you predictably tell me how many clients you're potentially going to take on over the next month? But if you have data to say, this is the amount of people that come through in my pipeline, this is the average conversion rate of those people on a monthly basis, you can then actually look at it from a statistical perspective. So for every 100 leads, if you sell to 10 a month, if you were able to generate 200 leads, are you able to get 20 clients? And so on and so forth. And you basically need to track the variables so much over time that tell you what the likelihood is of conversion based upon lead volume. And then you can pretty much then live kind of happily and comfortably knowing this is what's going to come into the business this month.
Yeah. I think that is a big thing as well. Like at the same time, everybody goes into these mentorships and stuff, and again, they're all going to be different in a certain kind of way. But when you go in, it's like when you do anything, you're only going to be open to a certain amount of like volume that comes at you. There's all these things that can be taught to you, but you're only going to take on so much because you're not really ready to take it on yet. Because I was definitely like that. I'd probably be in a better position to do a lot of the stuff now. So like tracking, I never done any of the tracking stuff. I was like, I don't need that. I need fucking clients. I
see you setting up your email marketing recently, and you're like fucking dinosaur fingers.
So like all that stuff I was like touched on before, and I was like, I'm not ready for that. I need to stick with, and maybe I should have done it. But it's just what you're willing to kind of take on. I'm assuming that will still be the case for you guys, like when people come in and stuff, and then you seems like you have a wee bit more of a personal touch. There is more one-to-one there. Do you need to have a bit of an awareness around that, or like try to make sure that they just create that awareness themselves?
No, both. Like we're because we're big on coaching, like we will pinpoint any patterns and trends that we see people kind of come across on a regular basis. So let's say it is around like creating content, and we've like seen specific like language people will use when they check in with us. We'll see specific language people use when they submit like their monthly data. And
so you get them to actually submit that?
Everything. So like every week they need to do like
because there wasn't any of that stuff.
I know. So like we track everyone's sales, and they pull through to like our CRM system, so we can see how much our clients have sold over the time that they've been with us. We're in the process of like systemizing that to go into like specific reports, so that we can then give like specific feedback, and like people can have their own dashboards and all that sort of stuff. Because that, again, for predictability, it's like, right, well, we've been working with these guys for a year, and from the year's worth of data, based upon what they've been implementing, we've seen the highest growth periods here, and here, and the lowest when we've implemented X, Y, and Z. So it's like, right, let's remove X, Y, and Z, and let's keep A, B, C, which, again, is just data. It just fuels like the long-term predictability of the business. But I think when people come into any mentorship, they will join based upon what they think their needs are at any given time. But very often they'll be very different. The needs will be very different than what they believe them to be. But because they are so focused on this is the thing that I think that I need and think that I want right now to like solve my problems, they will only consume information that their brain feels is most relevant. So that's where the challenge for us has to be identified quickly. Because if we see that recurring pattern of like you're only focusing on this, but it's nuanced, and you have to consider these 10 things that actually like make this outcome possible, that's what we need to focus on. So it's like, it's again, I'll always just default it back to like health and fitness. If you want a result in 16 weeks, it's going to default back to every single behavior that you take today. So it's the exact same thing when it comes to like building your business. So if we see anything that we think is like worrying or like getting in the way of someone's outcomes, we will tell them like straight away. Like we're not scared to bring it up. But we also know that coaching's 50-50. The coaches can't be doing more work than the coachee. So it's like, we will be here to support you every step of the way to like identify all these things, but you need to be the one that implements it. Like we can't do it for you, and we can't want it more for you than you want it for yourself. But yeah, we're way more hands-on, and we're way more like comprehensive, I would probably say, when it comes to just like identifying things that will really move the needle. So like, if someone comes to us, they're like, I've not got leads, blah, 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 but we've seen patterns and trends, we're not going to say, just do more outreach. We're going to be like, these are the issues why you're not getting leads, because let's say you're struggling to show up authentically on social media. Like you're worried about other people judging you because someone left a nasty comment in your Instagram profile before, and that's made you like retreat back into yourself. So you're pulling your punches with the subject matters and speaking about what you're passionate about because you're too worried about what other people may perceive you as. That's the thing that's going to move the needle forward, not the just go post more content or do more outreach.
Aye, it just kind of stays a bit flat.
So it just stays flat, because it's like, the thing that actually will get you, like there's obviously principles to marketing. There's never going to be anything more powerful than speaking about what you're passionate about, because there will always be energy behind that, and making sure that the subject matter of the content that you create is a strong subject matter. That's when people will read, that's when people will listen, and that's when you'll really like move the needle towards greater lead gen.
With people that come on board with you, not what do you identify with them, but like what do they... Is it still like, see, obviously there's the whole kind of 10K per month. I don't really know where that kind of came from, but do most people still come to you guys like with that, or like do you feel like you attract a different kind of client?
Different type of client. I would say, don't get me wrong, like every client wants to build their business substantially. One of the first things we do when people come on board is we get them to identify where they're going in business. So like, see, when someone comes to me with the whole like 10K thing and they say, I want to earn 10K a month, I just go, why?
Aye.
Right? And they go...
I know, it's the perfect, simple question back. Like, why?
They genuinely are like, because like I want to. And I'm like, right. I'm like, right, you might want to, but why do you want to? You know what I mean? So when they say that, I'm like, well, if you can't give me a clear answer, then nothing's going to matter. It's like, mate, you be bodybuilding. Like, obviously, you said you never done the British Champions. It was the British Championship, wasn't it? You said you never done that because after your show, you were just like, I've got no desire to do this. You know what I mean? So it's like that for you would have been like an initial goal you set out to do, but then once you've done your first show, it's like quite arbitrary after it. So if you're not all in with it and you have a strong reason to do it, you're like half in, half out, or you're just fucking out. So like that has an impact on everything. So if someone that can't tell me why they want to earn 10K, what the money's going to be for, it's going to be really difficult to do all of the things daily to earn that 10K because there's fucking zero significance or meaning behind the goal. So it's like, you need to identify that first. Like, why are you doing it? What you're in service to? What's the mission longer term? Because if you don't know that, then you genuinely are fucked. And anyone that comes to me and kind of says that and can't give me an answer, we just won't take them on.
And it's probably something that you need to continually revisit as well, of like, because you've took so many steps down the road and it's like, maybe it's something different now, like, because you've changed path a couple of times now, really, obviously now mentoring as well. You're no longer just going, well, instead of being a 10K coach, 20K coach, 50K coach, whatever it is. So it needs to be reassessed, doesn't it?
Aye, most of them come to us like when we get them to do that first task of like setting. So like we basically have like it's like kind of like 5 modules people walk through where they're like setting up their vision, they're identifying their values, they create like their freedom number, for example. So their freedom number is based on what they want to make money for. So like it will range. We've got clients whose freedom numbers might be 18.5K a month. So like that is the goal that they want to achieve in business. Other people's could be 35K a month for different reasons. So like we basically get them to measure it on like lifestyle. So like what sort of life they want to be living on a day-to-day basis, the house they want to have, what those expenses will look like, the car, any holidays they want to go on a year, how much they want to put away for their pension every month, like if they want to like take care of some family members and all that sort of stuff. So people's range, some people only have like an 8K goal, other people have like up into the 35s, 40, 50s kind of mark. But I think with that comes like a lot of like desire to like want to do it, because it's like now I know why I need to make X amount and the reasons behind it, which is quite powerful. So like we don't dictate the number for them or be like like this 10K is an arbitrary goal that we're going to set you for X reason. We just get them to set the goal based upon what they want. And then I always say it's like you might get to 18.5K a month and based on what you've built, you're like, I want to take this way further. But it's like an initial milestone to aim for, because like a big thing about impact. So like what we do, like we're very much like impact focused. Like we want to make a wider and greater difference. So it's almost like if we can coach coaches who then are better coaches, they can then impact their clients' lives. Their clients then can impact their families' lives. Their family lives could be impacted for generations after that based upon the habits and behaviours they change. Like it's all about impact, and that's why even though my context of what I do has changed, the impact element has never changed. Yeah. It's just now doing it in a slightly different way. So for a lot of people, once they see the impact that they can have, it then makes them want to push for longer and to kind of push to bigger and greater things. The only kind of like caveat I would say to that is that if they can only see that goal and they don't always think that they can push past it, it's like when you set yourself a goal and you put a limit on yourself of like, I only want to get to that stage, it can often like limit your impact. Yeah. So like you're limited by saying, I don't want like worldwide impact or like nationwide impact and all that sort of stuff, which then can also like leak into your day to day. So it's like if someone has a 20k a month goal, they can almost like pull their punches daily by going, oh, well, even if it takes me like 3, 4, 5 years to hit it, it's like someone with a 20 kilogram weight loss goal, they can be like, I've got plenty of time, and they just kind of fuck about a little bit. So it's like you need to have like a strong reason why, but also an identifiable goal at a specific point in time. So I usually have like a 1-3-5 year kind of vision. So like I know what I want to be achieving, earning all of that sort of stuff by the end of 2026, and then by the end of 2028, and then by the end of 2030.
Yeah. I think when you make the whole focus like just about the income and stuff like that, kind of like what it's been in the past, you walk that kind of fine line of like everybody comparing, like when everyone's at all different stages, and then also there's the inspiration kind of side of things, and like that comes into the whole kind of competition, because at the end of the day, anybody that's in a mentorship, or when we were all in a mentorship, it's essentially competitors, because these are all doing the same kind of role. Yeah. Do you feel like there is much of that still that goes on or whatever?
I think, like, everyone will probably say the same thing, but I genuinely think we're creating a community that isn't really like many other mentorships. Yep. Like, everyone wants to see people win. Everyone's very ethical. Everyone does, like, the right thing morally. So I think, actually, like, our community really want to see each other win, because it's almost like I finally found a community of people that understand me. They've almost felt like outsiders in other communities and stuff. Not too sure, like, obviously where we were before, like I obviously became like the mentor inside of that like mentorship because I joined there, and then within like 6 months they'd offered me a role. So I never really seen it from the client standpoint, from being in there maybe a bit longer. What do you think from your position of being a client in there? What do you think was missing that would have made you feel, or would have made you feel like more integrated and more of a part of the community?
That's hard to say, to be fair. I think definitely having some kind of accountability aspect that wasn't so out there of like sharing. I know it's great sharing goals and stuff like that, but it was when you're potentially insecure, like you feel a wee bit vulnerable when you see all these people like hitting massive numbers. Yeah. I was nowhere near that kind of stuff. So I think that was probably one thing, and it kind of comes down to like insecurities and stuff too. I don't know if you've had other feedback like otherwise.
It was hard to like. That was probably one of the most regular ones. Like,
was it? There was people feeling insecure and didn't want to share as much.
I like we've even got clients now. Like we've obviously got like our kind of private channels. Like everything is 1-to-1 with us, but like we push people to still share. It's just we've got different areas to share different things. So like we track everyone's sales. We track all their monthly data. They need to like fill in like a kind of like we call a weekly check-in. Like obviously in the kind of like fitness industry, but it's just basic questions so that we know at the start of the week if someone's like struggling with something or they need to like get more help in a specific area. We can tackle it right at the start of the week, and then we can just follow up with everything else throughout the week so that it's covered. You know. So there will be people that at times will be like, I've had a terrible week because X, Y, and Z, don't want to fill that thing in or do this and do that, because it pulls through to like public channels, but it's just so that the team can effectively get back to people as well at scale. And then we've got like private channels. So like we always say, like we've got like content channels for sharing content like that you're kind of playing around with. So if we're teaching you on like new kind of like content like approaches and stuff, and something has worked, you can share something and then like other people can take inspiration from it. We've got like fitness wins based content like channels and stuff like that. We've got like just like kind of laid back stuff. Then we've got more businessy stuff. Yeah. But at the same time, it is like everyone's at like different stages of their journey. So there's always going to be an aspect when you're inside of like a wider community, outside of like a private channel and kind of like one-to-one access with people, where you're going to feel differently about things at different times.
Yeah.
Like, it's just natural.
It's going to be different, like, just different personalities as well, and what they're willing to embrace and what they're willing to show, and how you react. And some people's confidence is going to be higher and lower and stuff. Like, yeah. And then again, it's that kind of fine line of like taking inspiration from it, or like you're almost like jealous in a way. Some people might be, really, wouldn't they? Like if they say somebody's hitting 30k consistently and they're like just in it 3, 4, 5k or something like that, and they're trying to get even to 10, it's like they just feel diminished a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I think it's almost like, I think the issue with like these other kind of mentorships around that is that their model is so like high ticket focused. Yeah. So like,
where the users are quite open to people doing different.
Well, mate, loads of
that's what
things.
We were always kind of pummeled with. It was like it has to be £1,000 for online coaching, and that's it. Where it's like they might be shit at coaching.
100%. Like, say for example, right? So we've got like a client success story going up this week. You'll probably, depending on when you're listening to this, you're going to have to scroll back and find it. But like we've got a client success like story going out this week. So this girl Sarah that we work with was with 2 different mentorships before, right? And she still does one-to-one PT because she loves it. She doesn't want to change it. She does like 20 odd hours a week, right? And she's got like 26 online clients. But the 2 mentorships she was with before were like, you have one core offer, like your higher ticket offer, and that's it. If you want to scale, remove like your one-to-one. And it's almost like, well, you're not listening. She doesn't want to remove the one-to-one. Right? Yeah. So it's like, if she doesn't want to remove the one-to-one, you're supposed to be giving her advice to scale her business. How the fuck is she supposed to scale if you're saying you have one offer and that's all, but she's at capacity as a result of like her gym floor work and the amount of people she's working with online? So she joined us and we were like, right, it's actually not that much of a problem. We just like explore different avenues. So way back when she first got into the industry, she kind of like done like 8-week programs, for example, right? So I was like, brilliant. If we've already got proof that something like that's worked in the past, but you've not ran it for a few years because these people have told you like not to do it, this is a great way to like increase your monthly revenue, or like your yearly revenue, the way that it's kind of divided across the year, which I'll talk about in a second. Great opportunity to do that. But her question was like, how do I stop like the 8-week challenge, like overrunning my core offer? Like if I want to take on more one-to-one clients. And I was like, simple. So what we do is we have like 3 seasonal challenges we launch throughout the year. And those 3 seasonal challenges essentially are done at specific points in time in the year where your clients are going to need help most. And it's obviously more leveraged as well. So she doesn't have to do as much kind of like one-to-one, even though, again, like delivery is a really big thing for us. So like she set this up in such a way where it's like it's so self-directed that like it would actually make it really difficult for someone not to win with like how the program amendments happen and all that sort of stuff. Because actually the apps now, there's fucking great like AI integrations that can like do the work for you without you having to touch much. Yeah. But then she obviously is the one that gives like the personalized feedback. So like program design changes, so she can actually like front load like all the changes that should happen based upon the feedback that comes through, which is fucking really cool, right?
Oh, that's cool.
And as a result of that, she can then just do like the actual coaching work with these women. So we were like, let's run an 8-week challenge. And the way that we stop this, obviously, from like coinciding with your core offer and people just picking that one instead, is we just do it 3 times a year seasonally. But if you take on women at any point in time of the 8 weeks seasonally, throughout the year, they can recommit every 8 weeks behind the scenes. So once they're in, they can stay in. Yeah. Right? So she was like, great idea, let's do it. So she started 8 weeks ago and she's went from 47 to 105 clients off the back of that challenge. Right. So I think the challenge she generated like over 7k, which means that every 8 weeks now she's the potential, not with other seasonal launches throughout the year, to be making 7k every 8 weeks. Right? So she said our biggest month in business, she had 2 mentors before us. She just had her biggest month in business, went from 47 to 105 clients just because I fucking listened. Yeah. Like it's genuinely that simple. She didn't want to remove the gym floor work. Yeah. She didn't want to increase capacity at one-to-one because she was like, I feel as though it would diminish the quality of the type of service that I deliver one-to-one. But if I can create something more leveraged but still automate it where I can, but give very personalised like feedback and so on and so forth, then why not? And she had already seen success with it. So we done like a kind of like early bird process and then like a full launch, and it was successful. So I'm like, right, if you can now recommit them at the end of like it'll be like end of December going into January, for example. If you can recommit them, make another 7k there, then we do a seasonal 8-week launch at the start of February. Let's say you make another 7k. Yeah. You've just made 14k over January and February for like it's simple. And then if you count that up over the year, you could easily add 6 figures to your revenue.
Yeah. And that's the difference. Like her being in different mentorships beforehand, obviously I'm going to be a wee bit biased towards you and stuff like that, but like I'm just going from my past experience as well. Like I just felt like it was always like just creating wee carbon copies of like speak the same way, word things the same way, like run your business the same way. Like she said that she didn't want to take away one-to-one, and you're like, well, you don't need to take away one-to-one. We just do this. It's just solving problems.
Yeah, mate, it's just solving problems
Differently, anyway.
Aye, and
she's able to do what she wants to do and stay fulfilled.
I think it's just listening to people. Like it's just listening to people.
It's like coaching, isn't it? Like, mate, it's asking questions and listening.
Yeah, it's like you live like if you've got a like client roster of like 50 people, not every fucking single client's going to be the same. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But that, again, it's like I thoroughly believe like a lot of the more kind of like authority figures per se, they care more about how they look successful in comparison to actually your success.
Yeah.
So like another one of my clients recently, she was in a past mentorship and she was earning like, she started in, I don't know what the lower tier program was called, but she started in like the lower tier paying like $1,000 a month, let's say, for example. And then when she got to like 7K a month, they were like, let's get you into like the top tier, which was 2.5K a month, right? Earning 7K a month. And
she had to pay 2.5K?
A month?
A month?
Mate, a month, right?
Fucking hell.
Which is, mate, which is wild, right? Like, see even if I did have a product at that price, which I don't,
right,
I would be like, you're not making enough profit. Like, or you're not at a stage
to justify it.
Right, see if you're at 20K a month, right, and your profit margins were like 75% sound, you know what I mean? Well, it's more acceptable. Say when I say sound, I still don't think that many. I still don't think there's that many people that are that interested to spend 2.5K a month on, especially when she never actually even worked directly with the founder. And it was like a performance coach. Now, I know that this might sound quite hypocritical because I was one of those performance coaches before, but I'd also actually built a successful business, whereas a lot of these people haven't actually built a successful business themselves. So they also lied about our client success story. So she went from like 0 to 30 clients or something like that in like 14 months. And I think she took 2 months off because her dad died. And they basically then put our client success story as an ad, I think it was, and online, and said she went from 0 to 30 clients in 3 months.
Right.
And she complained about it, and they were like, oh, it was a typo. It was a typo and all that. So it's like, is what you see online actually fucking true?
I know, it's like that with everything, really, isn't it? To an extent, anyway.
That's why we try and be as transparent as possible. But I always say this line, it's like, you've been sold a dream so many times that you actually think that the real thing is false. So like when we tell you the real thing, like it's not going to be an overnight success. It's going to be hard, X, Y, and Z. But if you like put the effort into X, Y, and Z areas, you will get this. Oh, it's not sexy enough.
Yeah.
It's not fucking sexy enough. So like that must be the shite way of doing it.
Aye.
Whereas like people are promising you these things, but their social proof could actually just be fucking total bollocks.
Aye. I can't even think of it. I always like to know. Wonder who the fuck that was.
I'll tell you after.
I know, definitely. Because it's always, so there's always mad stories coming out everywhere, to be fair.
Aye. But to be fair, it was like, we've been getting a lot of people from this like current mentorship, and a lot of this stuff that they were taught to do was to lie when they were doing like offers and marketing and all that.
Fucking hell.
So it was just like...
So a lot of your a large number of your clients came from the other mentorships?
All of them have either been with 1 to 3 mentors before. There's only one person we're working with now that's... No, sorry, 2 people that have never been with other mentors before.
Mark will be one.
Mark and Louise.
Oh, Mark and Louise,
aye. Everyone else has been with mentors before.
Both my clients.
Aye. He's obviously done a good enough job, and he didn't need one up until now.
That's it. I've led them along the way.
Aye, but again, it's like everyone, and that I just see patterns and trends. Like we're obviously coming up to Black Friday, so we're like talking a lot about like make the most of Black Friday, and I'm like categorically, you just don't fucking lie in your marketing. You don't do it right. You fucking don't do
definitely,
it.
Aye.
So like this previous mentorship, we're basically like
so
fucking.
That's literally. They've said lie in your marketing.
Not saying it in those exact words, but like it's like what they tell you to do. Aye. So like I don't know if you'll remember that like a lot of people started to do like scholarship based stuff fucking years ago and all that. So it was almost like I'm giving away 10K worth of coaching, worth of scholarships.
I do. No, I don't remember that one.
No. So it was like it's almost like you're promising like 10K worth of coaching giveaways and a scholarship. And when people are jumping on calls, they think they're jumping on to like apply to get coaching completely for free because you're giving away scholarships.
Right, okay.
Think about it. That's what scholarships are. You're
aye.
literally paying someone, like, let's say, for example, like a free scholarship that you get in America to go to a college and to play basketball, right? You get your tuition paid for you, right? So it's kind of like free for you because you've got like a degree of talent, right?
Yep.
Whereas their kind of like approach was you market it this way, but then when you get on the call, you just sell them your normal coaching program.
And it's not even like it's discounted or nothing.
No. Or like the other thing was like it's like cash prize giveaways. And then when people jumped on,
it's towards the coaching.
It's towards the coaching.
But they've just upped the price of the coaching.
So that was the other thing. So it was like it's cash prize giveaway plus like get the coaching package cheaper. But all you do, so like if it was 25% off, they would actually just pretend that their prices were 25% more expensive and charge their normal rate. And I'm like, so I've got 2 clients that were in this same mentorship, and one of them literally said to me before I came here, she was like, last Black Friday I booked 12 calls for this like scholarship thing, and not one person come on board because they were all there thinking they were going to get this thing, and then I had to present them with something different. And then another client did do well at Black Friday last year based upon what they told him to do around that cash prize stuff. But he was like, me, I felt like a terrible human being on every single call. Like I felt like a horrible, disgusting person. And I was like,
Jesus.
I was like, there's nothing wrong with saying, like, we credit this back to your coaching. So like, if you work with us for 3 months, right, and you achieve that goal within a 3-month period, you can claim your first 3 months back and coaching afterwards.
It's not cash.
But it's not cash. Just tell them. Like, just tell them. You know what I mean? It's fucking wild.
Jesus. We're not here just to bash other mentorships.
Well, we kind of are.
But we've done a bit of that.
Aye.
So I kind of digressing a little bit from that. I just wanted to touch on you, and you probably do a bit of this. Have you started doing like networking events, like in person and stuff? Yeah.
No, as much. Mainly just because I'm out in Dubai.
Right.
Aye. And don't get me wrong, it's like I obviously went to like a retreat just before I kind of came back to Scotland this time around. I went to Greece. I am very particular about the people I kind of surround myself with. Like very particular, because I think there's other people in the industry that say that they walk a certain line, but then they'll be seen with other people that clearly do not walk that line. And for me, that's just not a line I'm willing to cross.
Right.
So it's like if we don't see eye to eye on like our methods, our morals, our ethics, like I'm not going to spend time with you.
Yeah.
So it can be quite hard from a networking standpoint sometimes to find the right people like that.
Right.
But whenever I do, like I jump at it, like you're running your event on Sunday.
Right.
And obviously initially I wasn't actually going to be coming over, like I wanted to. Mm-hmm. But then my wife's family were supposed to be over in Dubai. Well, they are coming over to Dubai. And I hadn't told my wife because I was just like, if I tell her anyway, she's going to be like, my mum and dad are my dad and my aunt are over.
Right.
But then when I did tell her, she was like, you need to fucking go back and speak of that. You know what I mean? Because I was gutted that I had to say no, but I was like, our dad's never been over before. So I was like, I can't really like, I don't think I'm going to be able to go out of this one. But then she kind of pushed me anyway. So it's like doing things like this. It's been around people like Jack Haig, Ant and stuff like that. Then obviously like I was away at a retreat just before I came back here, but that was actually for someone that doesn't really work in the coaching industry. Like he's a consultant for like young entrepreneurs, service-based businesses. Again, very much see eye to eye. So I'll always network with the people that align with me, but the people that I think act one way in the front end and are actually a bit different in the back end based upon who they surround themselves with, not usually as open to it. That might be a me issue, but I'm a kind of like an extroverted introvert, so I don't really want to waste energy on people that I don't thoroughly see eye to eye with.
Same.
You know?
I take it do you still kind of, obviously not you, but you actively encourage like your mentees, I suppose, to like network with other coaches and stuff, because I think like, definitely you can get so much out of that. Like you said, surrounding yourself around the right people that you feel that you can connect with and stuff, like Ant and Jack and all that you just said, and definitely the guys that are all speaking at the event.
100%.
But I feel like for other coaches, they need to be open to meeting other coaches and find out what they do, and they'll take so much away from like, because I remember going to like some courses down at like RTS in London, and some of the guys speak that are there to do the course, and you're like, fucking hell, I don't know anything. And you take so much away, not from doing the course, but from all the guys that are there doing stuff. I take it you think that's of massive value for any of your guys as well.
100%. Like the thing is, like I think as we can never like be the one-stop shop for everyone. You know, I mean, as much as we would like to like have the most exclusive service where everyone gets something that they need in every single area of their job, it's just fucking not possible.
Aye.
You know what I mean? So like we try and cover as much as we can from like our coaching speciality standpoint.
Yeah.
Like we have Katie and Rue that still work for us, who are two like of our performance coaches. So they'll teach on like female physiology and programming and S&C and like endurance-based sport programming and all that sort of stuff. But again, like you'll probably have to go and do maybe like a Mac Nutrition at some point as well. You'll maybe have to go and do like an RTS. Mm-hmm. Like if you're really fucking want to geek out on like anatomy and stuff, you might have to go and do a fucking cadaver course in the Netherlands. You know what I mean? Like if whatever interests you and like makes you want to be a master of your craft, you're going to have to go and network and pay to be in those rooms. And usually a lot of the time it's the connections in the right rooms that will actually open countless doors for you as well. Because I think people don't really they don't really like appreciate how other connections, like similar connections to them, can actually be really beneficial for them. So let's say, for example, you meet someone that you would never have met unless you went to one of these courses, and they specialise in working with X niche, and you specialise working with X niche. Yeah. Could be similar niches from a demographic standpoint, but the actual like things that you help them with are different. What happens if you start referring people that you can't really specialise in working with to your friend, and then they refer people back to you, and so on and so forth? Like, that's where the industry should be. Yeah. In my opinion, but also the different expertise. Like you'd be so surprised at how many coaches that you connect with would be more than happy to jump on a call and talk through issues that you're experiencing, and vice versa.
Well, that's even how I've been able to run this seminar. You went down to M10 first, and obviously met you in New Age, and then met Anne and Jack. It's just like pulling people that you've kind of built friendships with, relationships with, and you can. It's useful down the line. Have you know it? Like so. No, that's class, and I think it's definitely making sure not to get caught up in like the whole kind of comparison thing of like I said, me go down to RTS and be like, fucking hell. Yeah. And not going, oh shit, I don't know anything, I'm fucking useless. But it's going, right, I need to be about these kind of people. Because it even comes back to like, I remember when you started in New Age, and I know we spoke about this before, but I didn't know you at all. But I thought, this guy seems like he's got a wee bit about him. He seems like he knows what he's talking about. So I always remember watching what you were doing and thinking, if he's doing that, I'm fucking doing that. and it makes you better rather than going, just burying your head in the sand and going, fuck that, nah, he can fucking do what he wants. But
100%.
If you look, you can take things from different people, and you can be like, he's doing, nah, I don't want to do that. Don't do that. Like, I don't want to do mentoring at all. You're down a fucking class with the mentoring. Rather go down a different avenue. I've got the gym and stuff. Yeah. So it is using that, trying to use it as inspiration and like take things from different people and not think that you know it all, or that you're not good enough as well. Like 100%. Either side of it, for sure.
100%. I think it's like, I mean, a lot of people say that you either just like have it or you don't, to like want to learn and want to grow. Yeah. I don't always believe that, because like if I look back to me in my teens, like I was a fucking nervous, jealous wreck of a lot of people just because I was insecure. But like when I'd worked on myself, I then recognised the power of actually being like a complete amateur at things, and it excited me. So like when I used to go to RTS, for example, like you'll probably know like Paul Standel, who like does the PT project with like James Sutton. He was on my RTS course.
Oh, is it? Okay.
And I remember him talking about things, and I was like, I know, man. I was like, this cunt is fucking like he is like genuinely like so like he was obviously there to learn, and I think that was very much like the kind of like infancy stage of like his like RTS journey. So he's obviously went over and worked with the head RTS again, Tom Purvis. He's went over and worked with him like in the States and all that sort of stuff, and like I think he was at the kind of like infancy of his journey, but he'd obviously like done quite a bit of education around it. And I remember the first day I was like, I really need to brush up on my anatomy, man. Like, oh my God, you know. And it was such a good experience to be like, these guys just have like something different about them that I just want to have, because like I always bring it back to the like sheer fact of like, I said this actually to Mark yesterday, because Mark is one of Ross's clients, but he works in New Age where we used to work, and I said literally to him yesterday, if you're willing to even go 10% above what other coaches are willing to do, you will stand out from the crowd like a fucking sore thumb. Whereas most don't want to go that extra mile. Like, I'm like, even better yet, if you can do 100% more than they do, like, it's going to be even better type of thing. But I think most people, for whatever reason now, just believe that it's easy, like, to build a business, or that you can build a business without having, like, a lot of skill in certain areas. But being a beginner, I think that mindset of, like, always feeling like a beginner will do so well for you in life, because then you'll never start learning, you'll never, like, lose that kind of, like, sense of, like, building skill. Plus, you'll always be quite humble, I think. Like, you won't get too ahead of yourself. I think the minute you start getting too ahead of yourself, you're fucked. That's why it's always kind of important to surround yourself by the people that are ahead of you. And then you're like, there's still stuff I need to do. Like, sit down, wee man. It was definitely after, like, I remember you went down to M10 first and come back and like you were doing all this stuff, and I was like, I need to go fucking do this course. And I went down and see, just learning for those guys for like 6 months or even longer it was, to be fair. There's just all these things that you can do that you can be better on. And it's just like the tip of the iceberg, really. It really is. I remember my first day at M10, I was like, I don't care if I look like the stupidest cunt in here, I'm just going to like put my hand up whenever I can. And I remember the first time, I actually wrote an email on this recently. Like the first thing that I was asked, I can't remember the context of it, but I was like, I don't fucking know the answer to this, but I can remember clear as day. I don't know the answer, but I just done whoop and like shot my hand up, answered, and it was like, not quite. And I was like, you're saving me there because it was a terrible answer. Like, you know, I was way off there. But then the next thing they asked, my hand shot up, I answered, and they were like, bang on. And I was like, I like to see it as like a game, right? Like the game never ends at level 1. So if you can respawn and try again, you know that you're confident enough to get at least to level 1. Like I like to see, I mean, this is just how my mind works with everything that I do. It's like even like a football match doesn't finish 1-0 after the first goal scored. You know what I mean? It's like you get fucking 90 minutes. So I always think, right, well, if you, like even if you want to think of this in like revenue numbers, say 5K is level 1, 10K is level 2, 15K is level 3, all of that sort of stuff. If you're able to achieve 5K, right, even if you've only done it maybe once and your revenue drops a little bit, at least you know that's the level you can get to, right? So once you can get there stably, then it's a case of, okay, how can I then go to level 2? Yeah. So like, how do I fight against the characters at this level to basically get to level 2? And then once I've cracked that time around, I then know confidently that I can maintain at least this or build upon it. I think it's why even like relaunching these businesses that we were able to scale quite fast, mainly because I'd been at like higher levels previously. So I'm like, I know how to get there in business. Like it'll become more challenging when I get into areas that I've never been in before. But I'm like, I know how to get there. So like implement the things that fucking work.
Definitely. Because for me, like being at whatever level I was at with coaching and stuff like that, and then now having the gym, and now I'm thinking, hey, I need different avenues of like to grow here, and that's why I've been trying to do stuff with like email marketing and stuff.
What was it you done the other day?
So ClubRite, the system we use for the gym, it's got anybody that was a member, has been a prospect or whatever, so it's got all the emails there. So it's got all these wee things, but it's got its own email marketing thing in it. So I was like, I was just looking at, right, how can we get more reviews on Google? So I was like, right, I'll send the thing out to all the members. Great. So I sent a thing out to the members. It's like, right, class. Very quickly, I was like, fuck, if I just sent that out to everybody that's not even been a member, just as being a prospect that's like went to look on to see what the prices were or whatever. So it was like 1,500 people saying leave a review. Luckily, I never got any bad reviews or any bad feedback.
I left your review a couple of months ago, by the way.
I got it. It was one of the top ones, but we got all good reviews, so
good.
All 5 stars.
Mate, that's class. But the thing is, mate, those problems are going to happen, right? Like even we were doing like a webinar recently that we kind of like sold a lot of clients in off the back of, and like there was a few. Like we had to like kind of turn around quite rapidly because it was off the back of like me buying the Hormozy books. Obviously you were at the event, so it was like we bought those books, and then I was like, right, I'm going to use this as a bit of like lead gen to like give the books away, blah blah blah, get leads. And I was like, why don't we just fucking put on like a big experience for people? So that was like 8 days before we actually
really good. I liked that.
Mate, honestly, like I maxed out Canva slides. I never knew you could max out Canva slides.
You could either.
500 slides I built. So like between that and then like,
have 500 slides
on
Sunday.
I know. Like the rapid fire of like, right, okay, we've now got this idea to put on this like big show, big event, like huge giveaways, like if people come along and all that sort of stuff. And it was like, right, so I built it all out myself because Jen was like, you've clearly got the idea in your head. Just let me know if you need anything from me. Just like you fucking get to work and I'll pick up other stuff. So I was like, right, I need to like build out this slide deck, do it in a way that I want to do it to like add value, give away free value, and then obviously like kind of present an offer at the end. And I also want to make sure that like I get all the email marketing stuff right, the social stuff right, all the automations for capturing people's emails and details, all of that sort of stuff right, the opt-in pages right, blah, blah, blah. So it was like a fucking really quick turnaround. And mate, I'd like scheduled emails. So I was like, right, I've got X amount of time to sit and do the emails today. I'm going to get the emails done. And mate, like 3 of the emails that came out over the next 3 days, like, I don't know what I was doing, but like 3 of them were wrong. Like, don't get me wrong, they weren't all wrong, but like I was reading through it and I'd obviously been like in the middle of writing an email and I deleted like half a line to rewrite it and I hadn't rewrote it and it just went into like the next line and all that and I'm like, oh no.
You see stuff like that all the time though, like the amount of times like I'm on different email lists just to see what they were like. I'm on yours, I'm on David Tats and stuff, and I see David and he sends stuff out and he's like, I didn't mean to send that email by the way, it's due out tomorrow, and it's like, fuck it. But that was my very first email I'd sent out. It's like I was like, fuck.
Mate, better to get it wrong to begin with because it teaches you so far.
Well, it did. I was like straight away into their bot thing going, can I take back an email? Because it said 20 minutes it would take, so it's 1,500 fucking emails. And they were like, no, you can't take it.
That's the so annoying thing that you can't like pull it back afterwards. It was so like, was it last Friday or the Friday before? Jen had wrote a bunch of emails basically before she went off on mat leave, right? And she was like, right, you can decide when these are going to get sent out. I've scheduled them for these days and you can just write yours around it. Because usually when she's in office, I'll write like 2 one week, she'll write one. She'll write 2, I'll write 2 the following week, she'll write 1, and we kind of like cycle it that way. So she'd wrote like 6 emails or something like that, and she's like, you can use one of these a week every week, so I'll just schedule them for like the Friday, for example. And I was picking Joanna up for work on a Friday, like maybe 2 weeks ago, and the email obviously comes through because you're on your own email list just to make sure everything's cool. The email come through, and before she went off, we were also like getting loads of like proactive like YouTube videos set up so that she could like launch on certain days. And at the bottom of this email, she wrote this fucking cracking email about like client results and like how to guarantee results for your clients. Then at the bottom of it, it says, insert YouTube link when ready. Like when up. So I get this email through, and I'm like, and I haven't really been speaking to Jen because she has been in mat leave, and I'm just trying to get her to like enjoy that time. Yeah. And I was like, when she reads this, she is going to be mortified. So I had to like go up the road, and then I was like, oops. But mate, it happens to everyone.
It's never going to be that streamlined.
Aye.
But I was going on about like being around about the right people, and I wouldn't have even looked to do that stuff if I didn't see your content all the time of like, you need to be doing email marketing and stuff, and that's I'm still fucking shit at it.
But you can learn.
Fucking slowly I'm getting there.
Do you feel like a bit of a dinosaur with it?
Oh, I'm so bad to actually see with I feel like anything I'm trying to do, I just don't know. I'm just shit at it. It's so bad.
You're like, me know how to lift weights. Me know how to eat food.
And I'm like, how the fuck did I get anywhere where like coaching is just everything's all been through Instagram? Yeah. And it's like, I need other shit. So I'm like, try to get away. Well, I've got a website now.
Yeah.
Need some work. But I've got a website, got other things to try to do email marketing. Was talking to David the other day, and he was like, you need a sort of referral system. So I'm like, no, try to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's just building all these wee things. But again, back 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been open to do any of that stuff because I wasn't ready in my head to like accept these things. So it's just about having that awareness around about it all.
I kind of like to front load it. So like even guys that we're working with are like, we've got like kind of very simple systems that we use, and we like to like keep things simple. Like that's our like motto, like fucking simple scales, bullshit fails. So it's like there's stages to business. So like even in the early stages, we much prefer using like different AI bits to capture like your data, like from like people opting in for certain things. Because like when you use like a funnel landing page, you can actually lose leads. So like if a lot of our clients' main priority is to scale, proximity is usually most important because sometimes like leading people onto like a landing page or something like that, you can lose the lead because it's like a complex step. But then say you're maybe like 15K plus a month, 20K plus a month, blah, blah, blah. You're then in a position where like you can use different types of funnels, different types of landing pages and all that sort of jazz. So I actually try and get, because we simplify the systems that people use in the kind of early stages, I try and get people to set that up as quickly as possible. So it's like, if you have this now, it's going to just save you so much time because let's say, for example,
and you don't end up like a dinosaur like me.
So it's like, it's both like the sooner you start, the more skilled you're going to be. And also, you never know, like I always say this, like one of our clients, Christian, last year, he'd only been working with us like a month. And we were talking around content, and I was like, we need to like explore a little bit more with like how we make this content better. And we done like a Black Friday offer, and he brought in like 19K over the next 8 weeks, and he had like 200 applications because he'd like sorted his content, but he had not put the systems in place just yet. Right. So it was all manual follow-ups and all that. For like 200 odd people, right? Shit. Which is fucking mental. But I was like, you never know when you could put something out and literally become like, not become an overnight success, but you can get almost like overnight success from like one thing. Yeah. That doesn't maybe consistently last, right? But it's almost like if that thing worked, you recreate more of that same thing. Yeah. So like that's almost like the formula for success. But I'm like, if you can like safeguard yourself from like getting to that position where it's like, oh my God, I've got 200 leads and I'm fucking so overwhelmed, then the sooner the better.
Do you think the same email marketing people should be starting with that, like early stages as well? I know we kind of briefly mentioned that before we started, but you feel that's something you should jump on right away, or like, no?
It depends, I think, what position your business is in. So I think if you've got a lot of leads, I think definitely need to jump on it quite quickly. But if you're struggling to even generate leads off your main platform, you probably need to fix your messaging, your offer, your own behaviours, your beliefs around like how you present yourself. Like that's probably got to be like the level one stuff.
Would you still say like social media is like should be your number one platform as a coach?
Yeah, everyone's is going to be different. So like a lot of people can also see it depends who you're working with. Like a lot of people see a lot of success on like LinkedIn, for example. Is that right? They're working with like I've got like a couple of clients that work with like corporate women and stuff like that. Like, it's not like high performing women, it's just like women in corporate jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're usually a lot more on LinkedIn. So I always say you should really, don't get me wrong, again, this is like subjective. So it's like you should focus mainly just on one platform if you get all your leads from there. But you might not know right now which platform's best. So explore which one's best. And then when you find it, double down on that one. But whatever platform seems to be best is probably going to be the thing that generates most leads. But we used kind of like a flywheel effect. So it's like compounding. So it's like you send somewhere to each place in your flywheel. So it's like you've got your program, you've got your offer, you've got your message, and that's bang on. We also then want to make sure that we're putting that into like long form content creation. We also want to make sure that we're putting that into like different offers, split between your core offer, behind the curtains offers, which is like trust transactions, as we like to call it, and then like free offers. We want to be utilizing email marketing because you can sell more through email marketing than you usually can on social media, so that people don't like create some form of like sales resistance. Right. If you push too hard on socials, like people can really switch off, and the algorithm as well. Like if people switch off, no one sees your shit because the algorithm doesn't work to your favor. Whereas the emails are landing directly in people's inboxes. And then once you've like fixed your offer, your messaging, you know who you're speaking to, you've got different avenues and offers that you can present to people, then utilizing that messaging through paid media. And most of the time, our clients can usually get like a 3 to 10 times return on ad spend if all of that other stuff is right in place.
Right.
So,
right, okay. If you strip it right back then and you look at, right, somebody's just getting into the industry, they've just started PTing out of New Age, let's say it is, and they're looking to start all this shit. What do you think they should be focusing on? Would they go start with like a social media? Like, how would they know, like, because they've rhymed off a whole load of shit there. Like, how do they know who they're working with and stuff? Like, I said it in the last podcast, I personally don't feel like right away you should be going, I need to niche down, I need to do this, I need to look at this kind of person. I think you should, a good way to start is look at, right, what was the things I struggled with in the past and start like kind of telling stories about that. If you've not had any clients, then you can't really tell any stories about that, but like start to gravitate towards that as a place. What would you would you say similar, or would you say start somewhere else in terms of like LinkedIn or fucking YouTube or something like that? Or what would you say?
Let's say if you're starting out in the gym floor, fucking walk the gym floor. Walk the fucking gym floor. Like,
I know people think that you don't do that anymore. It's just you just post on social media. But it fucking works.
It works. Mate.
And it's not going up and going, do you want PT, mate? It's just be a sound person.
Mate, just be a human being. Genuinely just be a human. Like that's what I would say. I was like, again, if you can start on Instagram, great, but I wouldn't like put all of my focus into Instagram being the main platform where you're going to get your leads. People are always going to trust you way more when you're in person. Let's say you see someone doing a fucking deadlift and they're going to break their back in the gym. You go over, your sound, you introduce yourself, you have a bit of laugh, and then you just ask them if you can show them like a better way to do the deadlift. That's going to create more instant trust than you posting physique updates on your fucking social media. Don't get me wrong. The second thing I probably would do is if you're not in the shape that you want to help your kind of clients get into, get in fucking good shape. Like walk the walk. Like this whole thing, it's like, I think that in this day and age, people are like, oh, you can have the business, but you can't have the shape. And it's like, no, you can actually have it all if you're just not empty. Like, you can literally do it all. But again, I'd make sure that you're walking the walk, because that's going to give you more credible authority straight away. And I don't mean, like, not to sound harsh on this, right? Because I don't mean it to sound harsh, but like, it can't be like a mid-transformation. You know what I mean by that? It's like, it needs to be a good kind of like,
you're in the best shape you've ever been in, and it's ridiculous.
And like you're probably the best shape of any cunt in the gym. You know what I mean? Like that sort of shape.
Stand out.
You need to stand out. So I would like document that journey, because that will probably get you clients to begin with. That won't be the thing that gets you clients consistently. The reason why is because people...
You continually staying shredded. Nobody cares.
It's just like you're doing bodybuilding now. Like, see, the first time around, like, people would have been like, that's fucking class. But now it's expected of you. So, like even, don't get me wrong, like, people will still be like, you're looking fucking class, which you will. But, like, they won't care as much. Because like it's not the first time you've been through the transformation. It's like people do get marketing fatigue. So, like, if they see the same thing that you're doing time and time and time again, it's almost like, so... Like, that's who he is, you know? So, like, the first time you want to make it, like, jaw-dropping, and you want to rinse it for as much as you can. And you want to start posting content, like, storytelling about that journey. You definitely want to start, like, thinking about the problems you had and, like, marketing more towards those problems of people. But I wouldn't really, like, niche down and say, like, men, women, blah, blah, blah. I would let the problems speak to the right people. And then I would actually work with as many different types of people as you possibly can to find who you actually enjoy working with. Like, see this whole, like, people will say to me sometimes, I just fell into this niche. Like, they work with people they don't actually really enjoy working with, but they just fell into it because that's who they attracted most of the time. And I'm like, yeah, but you have clearly either just said, right, these are the people that pay me money, so I'm just going to keep working with them.
Yeah.
Or you've not actually worked with enough people in different, like, from different backgrounds, like, to actually know who's right for you.
Yeah.
And that's also when you can build a business you hate. So, like, if you're like a guy training perimenopausal women and you hate training perimenopausal women, but they're easier to sell to, that fucking bollocks, and like all of this sort of stuff, I'm like, that's your first problem. Like, you should be working with people that fulfill you. So I would actually say, like, keep it open.
Aye.
Like, let the problems speak to the, like, that's what I used to do in my marketing. I used to work with men and women, and I used to speak to the problems, and I would naturally have more men and more women coming to me of like the bracket, because like I knew I could help both.
Yeah.
You know, and I genuinely enjoyed the balance between men and women. The problems I usually spoke about were more like probably mature problems, I would say, like the way I used to market it. So I wouldn't really, don't get me wrong, the odd person, but I would usually not really work with a lot of people in their 20s unless they were a bit more mature.
Yeah.
It would usually be people in like their 30s and early 40s I would usually tend to attract. And it was mainly just because I probably had a wee bit more of a kind of like older, like head on my shoulders, I would say, when I was a bit younger. You know, even though I do look fucking old regardless. So that's probably where I would start. Like, don't niche down and like close yourself off from a large portion of the market.
Aye, definitely. Well, all the stuff you just mentioned there's pretty much what I'm going to talk about on Sunday.
Yes!
But this is after.
Easy.
Well, I've done the seminar, so this doesn't matter. That's fine. Not everybody will have seen that, so cool. No, that's perfect.
This is just positive reinforcement.
We're in agreement with it's basic stuff to begin with. It's not getting caught up with like loads of stuff that you see a lot of mentors and business folk and all that talking about, and like you're just in the game, man. Like, start from the start and just do the basics.
Aye, and don't think you can be earning 5k next month.
Aye, or definitely not fucking 10k that everybody dreams that they're going to be making.
Don't know why that was the number.
Aye, I know.
Like, it's just like, that's like the arbitrary number.
I think it definitely was Phil Graham that made it the 10k was like, that is a very achievable.
Yeah.
Like,
probably because he led the market at that stage.
Definitely, for sure.
Aye.
I want to touch on like your obviously you've worked in a mentorship, you've got your own mentorship. Like, you obviously done very well, because I actually remember listening to the podcast, and it was, again, Client Success, it was your one. It was like 17k in the first 30 days or something. I was like, fucking hell. How did you find your first experience going into a mentorship? And like, in fact, you worked with somebody before.
Just
you
before.
worked with Adam beforehand.
Yeah.
Even from that, like, what did your initial experiences like going into a mentorship and stuff like that? Like, it must have been good to an extent.
Yeah, I think it was good because I already had the foundation. So like, I speak about this quite a lot. I'd hit just shy of like 20k before I actually went into the mentorship.
Right.
So I'd already had like and I'd never worked with anyone
before you got into Adam's one initially.
Aye. So like, don't get me wrong, like that was so like that was, so I invested in him just after COVID hit. But you might have remembered this, I was running like a city break getaway challenge just as COVID hit. So like, it was like a 12-week transformation program, right?
I maybe do actually remember. Aye.
So like, I'd like X amount of leads, right? So I think I had like 70 people that wanted to buy from me. Then COVID fucking hit. And then like only like 30 people continued, but that 30 people generated like an additional $9,000. And I was already making like 11.5 recurring. But a few people then dropped off because of COVID and all that. So it was like, I ended up at like 18. And I was like, fucking hell, COVID did me out of 20k month. But I'd already had like, I'd never invested in my business before. My full thing was just develop skills, implement those skills with clients, get great results, market those results and those skills. That was my 4-step process. And then I just started like seeing different people do different things. And I was like, I'll maybe try a wee bit of that and blah, blah, blah. And like, I just used my initiative. So I first initially invested in Adam. And once I was in, I clearly knew I shouldn't be here. Like, okay. I was I don't want to like make this sound big-headed, but I was genuinely steps above. Everything that they were getting taught to do, I'd already done. Most people were like, because it was basically marketed to like leave the gym floor and go fully online. And I wasn't sure if I was going to go back in the gym floor when COVID had finished, right? Yep. So I was like, because the 11.5k a month I was earning at that stage was basically like a mix of, I had like 85 online clients, and then I had like my face-to-face clients as well. Yep. But a lot of people were paying me like 80 quid online, you know what I mean, like back in the day. So at that point I was like, right, this guy helps people come off the gym floor, go fully online, blah, 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 blah. Yep. But most people were like 3, maybe 4k, kind of 5k, and I was like, I'm genuinely not taking anything from this, and I'd paid them for the year. And I was like, I know. So I was like, I think it was only like 30 grand, right? But I was like, I was still a bit like, fucking hell. So I said to him, and he was like, oh, I'm creating this new part of like the mastermind where like you'll come over and spend time with me in Dubai. You'll be in like the top tier. like, I'm going to put that into place in a couple of months. And I was about like, I've not got a couple of months, mate. Like, I'm like, I'm actually learn now type of thing. So I was kind of like missold because he knew what I was. He knew what I was, like, but I never let that stop me. So then afterwards, obviously invested in Phil before I started working there. And when I was with Adam, I was only with Adam for like 6 weeks, but then I seen Phil doing like this kind of like growth summit thing online. So I went and spent the day, learned from him, and at the end he was like, we've got an offer type of thing. So I signed up there and then. I had such a funny story, right? Because I'd obviously signed up to Adam. My missus was like, or my wife, my wife was like, you better not spend that like any more money, right? Because she knew I dropped $3,000, and I told her like I wasn't really getting much, and she was like, fucking idiot. And then I was going on Phil's thing, and she was like, don't you dare spend any more money, right? And Phil's thing was like double that, right? Not for a year, for like 90 days.
Aye.
So I obviously bought it. She wasn't back yet. I went to the shop, got her like a pack of donuts, and then she came in. She came in and she walked through she walked through, and there was donuts on top of the microwave, and she done, who are those donuts for? And I said, they're for you. And she done, what the fuck have you done? So I dropped like 10k in the space of like 6 weeks, pretty much just shy of 10k. But then I obviously went in there as a client, and to be fair, like back then, like I actually think the process was like a very positive one. I think the resourcefulness probably, and just like what I'd done to already build my business, definitely helped. I don't know what that experience probably would have been like for someone that was maybe just kind of like starting to like try and really grow their business, you know. But for me, they sent over like 10 onboarding videos, right? And I watched like 2. And I'm one of these people that if I just get like an inch of something, it can give me like all these different ideas. So I watched 2 of those videos, and I never watched another one. Mate, I never watched another online video with them apart from like a live education call the full time I was a client.
Right.
I literally just rinsed the fucking life out of like the wee bits of like info that I got there. And then obviously it was just because I was like growing quite fast. They were like, do you want to like join the team? But that, and on reflection, right, I see this kind of like twofold, positive and negative, but I much prefer to look at the positives. I definitely stunted my own business growth over time, just because the amount I ended up working inside of their business. Yeah. Sometimes it was like 25 hours a week. Yeah. And we were working with like over 100 clients as well. So it was like, I felt like I was just getting pulled pillar to post, but at the same time, I felt like I was learning a lot. Yeah. I also learn best from like looking at things and like making my own, or drawing my own conclusions. So I would maybe like look at how they were dealing with a set situation, I'd be like, it's not what I would do. Aye. So like that feels like how I go about my business now. There's other things like from a mindset point of view that I've learned that it's like, especially from him, he's like very bullish and like straight to the point, which not a lot of people like, but I actually do like direct feedback. So I've then taken that to be like, right, I know the people I can do that to as well, and they respond to it very well, which I maybe would never have done before if it had never been done to me. Yeah. So like there was positives and negatives to take from it. But I've always learned best by just like standing back and like thinking of like all the different kind of possibilities to a situation. So like my experience as a client was positive. When I then went in to like as a team member, it was probably a wee bit more challenging as like the role grew over time. They wanted me to go full time at one point as well, right. And I turned it down because I was like, just didn't feel. I never ever wanted to. It just didn't feel right.
Right. Fair enough. I thought it would have been a positive experience. I just wanted to get your direct insight from it because I knew, well, you obviously grew very quickly, so it must have it worked.
Well, the funny thing is as well, like I'd actually implemented like a sales framework they gave me. So funny thing, right? I'd grew my business to that point without ever doing a sales call. So I'd never done a sales call until like I joined Phil's program, right? So I was like, fuck, take a sales call, right? So they were like, here's this script.
Well, I was the same.
Mate, it's
so uncomfortable as well, man.
But my first 9 sales calls never closed.
Did they not?
No, and I was like, right, there's something wrong here. I was like, what? Like, why is this not working? And I just done, fuck the script. I was like, just speak to people like you normally do. I'm like, how do you speak to people in a consultation when they come in at the gym? Speak to them like normal people. And then I'd obviously closed like, I went on a roll where I never did, I hadn't not closed someone for like 22 sales calls, you know what I mean? And it was just that simple pivot. But I think a lot of people who maybe don't have that kind of background of experience and maybe critical thinking and like solving their own problems would just have continued to follow the script because they were told to. Whereas I always was able to like kind of like nitpick the bits that would work for me from the advice that they did give. Yeah. So like I think this is where it's difficult. It's like a lot of places maybe aren't really person focused. But at the same time, there is like an expectation from them where it's like, well, it's your business. Yeah. You should be broadening the way in which you think and blah, blah, blah to achieve this outcome. But that's kind of like, if we go back to the start, that's what mentoring is. Like, that's why we much prefer to call ourselves business coaches rather than mentors. Mainly just because mentoring is, I'll tell you what to do based upon what I would do or what's worked for someone else. So in their eyes, like, they're actually doing what you're paying for. You know. But for me, it's like, I much prefer the coaching side. So like, if there's something standing in our way, like, we're going to get you to figure out what the solution is.
I was the same, to be fair. Like, although like, there was a lot of stuff I didn't like, I got loads out of it and learnt a lot. There's loads of stuff, like I said, there's loads of stuff I wasn't open to that I could have learnt more, but that's my problem, not their problem. But just there was definitely bits that just felt like everybody's getting moulded to be the same person. It was the same when I went to do like sales calls, none of them were closing. And I was like, I'm not doing the sales script. And I was like, I'm not charging that money. But it made me charge more than what I was. And that's what they talked about it a lot in that, didn't they? Like your money mindset and like how you've kind of grew up and you've been taught with it and stuff like that. And you're always going to be like in that kind of, or you're to begin with, you're going to be like that kind of set mindset towards it. But then it changes over time. And I think the more you're about that, like you've mentioned some big numbers today, there'll be a lot of people that are watching this that are like, are listening to this and be like, fucking hell. But because we've been about it for so many years and I've not earned those big numbers, but you're like, it's quite fucking normal. Like,
it's do you know, mate, it's actually so funny. Like the kind of like people that I'm around now, it's like, and because I was around them for so long, it was like when you're talking about like 6-figure months and all that, it's just like, duck half a waters back. No, water half a duck's back. I know, not duck half waters back. What, like, see from your perspective, right? So, like, see, like, going back to that time in which you were in there and you feel like you maybe never made the most of it and it was down to you. What do you think's changed for you? Just again, for people listening, if they've ever been in this kind of scenario, what do you think's changed for you between then and now, where you'd be where you're obviously now more open to like exploring things? What's changed?
I think I've just, maybe it's just the experience now. I've done enough of it and seeing a lot more getting mentioned about it. And it's probably who I'm surrounding myself with, like, as well, like doing these seminars, seeing you a lot more, speaking to other and connecting to other people and seeing what's working and what they're doing. And I'm like, there's obviously something to this. And it's not just fucking continually posting on social media and building like me as a brand. Like, I think initially the gym's probably done quite well because I'm from Hamilton. Loads of people know me in Hamilton. I've coached in Hamilton for fucking 10 years. So that helped things go well. And it's like, well, what's next? I kind of live off that forever, especially as I stop coaching. So it's like, I knew there has to be other avenues of like what we need to do. So just looking at, right, what's going to be the first thing or the best thing to kind of initiate to begin with. And it's still a little bit like, I don't fucking know. I'll
fuck around and find out.
So I'm just going trialing out these different things and we'll go from there. Because before that, I hadn't even done like lead magnets. Which is fucking the basic of the basic. So I was like, now I'm starting to do a wee bit of that and some landing pages and getting emails in and stuff. So it's just going for there.
It's the proactiveness we were talking about before. It's like, I think when you, don't get me wrong, like, I think when you're doing anything new, especially like launching a gym, you like leverage your current connections and like the positioning that you have in a certain area. But then it's like, you will then run into a challenge because it's like, what got you this far? Probably like you still need to continue to do that stuff, but like you need more. And it's just more of the right things, but you also won't know really what the right thing is until like you've been doing things for long enough. So would you, from what you said, I think, is it more just like you're clearer now, you think, on like what you want, probably?
I think I'd mentioned that to you not too long ago. That I feel like I'm a lot clearer on what I want to achieve. And actually, when I was on your Hormozy call, which you actually delivered really like Hormozy with all the slides.
One of my clients was like, "You're like the bald Hormozy."
The bald Hormozy.
And I was like, "I'll take it."
Like when you got us to do that wee breakout that, but I hadn't done that on my own, but I had a clear idea, so I'd like done it really quickly, and none of it was money orientated. It was all lifestyle orientated, which is totally different from when I'd done stuff like that with Phil and all that. And I wasn't earning what I'm making now, but it's like, don't really have an attachment towards that, which is kind of weird. But I got a lot more direction of where I want to take things, and like right now I could drive off of like, right, we want to have another gym by this point, and then we want to move that one and get a bigger one, and we want to have these things in it, and we want to do this and that. And it's like, I was going to mention this earlier on, like what we want to build for the gym as well, how we want it to be, because I feel like when we worked in New Age, there was quite a lot of good camaraderie. Like we all got on. Like it was a good bunch of people. Like I think it's really hard to get that, especially in gyms now.
100%.
It's mega kind of saturated. Like I would say the quality is nowhere near as good. There's a lot of people doing it, and the quality is not as good. So you don't get as good a kind of that kind of
environment
in the gym, and then also like trying to kind of get that bit new age that we had, but then also taking loads of like I thought M10 was amazing. Like M10's not about it anymore. But it was fucking class. Like how they taught the coaches and how they ran things. So I would really want to kind of merge that a little bit. So like, I'm really quite clear on like what we want. It's like it's just how they do it.
But then you can reverse engineer and just trial and error. You know what I mean?
So I don't know if you told us to do that, but that's pretty much what I did. And I was like, right, okay, I can actually get there quicker than what I thought. Because I was like, right, I want the second gym in 5 years, and then I'd work it down. I was like, no, we can have that a year earlier. We can do that. And like, so it's proactive with all these things, and like it's not about it's the whole kind of hear it all the time of like working on the business, not in the business. Which I really need to get good at and like accept of like, because if I just did all the hours in the gym like I did when we opened up, I'd have some money then out, but we need kind of what you were saying earlier. We need to think long game, and we need to look at what's the things I need to put in place to actually get there and make it a kind of longer term success. So, and I think that all kind of comes from like me being open to it, and also surrounding myself with like different people and just seeing different people and just building those relationships. So everything that we've just covered, it's all coming in for me like right now. So, and it's definitely going to be applicable to like coaches that are early days and like all throughout as well. So it's just doing that.
The team that you've built in the current gym though is like a good one. Like that's kind of like, because New Age, like I think back to New Age, it's like everything, you don't really recognize it like when you're in it, but it's like pure nostalgic looking back, because like I look about now when I go into like certain gyms and I'm like, we had a cracking thing in the go back in the day, because it was like, even if you looked over, like it's so funny, like at the last event Ross took, like he actually brought up for the first time something we'd never spoke about, but we both knew it. It's like we used to compete against each other. So it was like who's busiest, who's got most clients, who's got the better results and all that. And it's like, but that pushed you. So it was never like I fucking want him to do bad. It was like, all right, he just brought in another new guy. I'm going to bring in another new guy.
And it was like, you know you can be better. You know there's more there. Like just when you've got somebody, because it'd be shit just you imagine you're in a gym, we're back in New Age and there's nobody else there and it's just you going solo. It'd be a bit like, this is fucking shit in here. Or if it was in my gym, I'm not trying to bash New Age or anything like that, then you'd be like, this is fucking shit. Like we need people to up their game. So that's how I think if we can get all coaches that are driven, all that want to learn, I actively put on things that, we can do. I do one-to-ones with them and put on education stuff, and we've paid to get people in. It's just going to make them better. And from my standpoint, it's not just about them be better. I think, well, if they are better, they bring in more clients, they get more results, they're going to bring in more members, and we all work together. And it's 100%. Even with like Daniel, the physio, it's just a big referral system of like, right, they've got better. Right, somebody's got injured. Daniel sends them there. Daniel has new clients coming in. They're like, oh, there's a fucking gym through there. He shows them the gym. Everybody. So it's like
he builds a rehab program specific to the kid in the gym. You can only do this program.
That whole thing of like ever touching on like, well, competition and not wanting people to do well. There's plenty out there for everybody. There's millions of coaches, millions of PTs, millions of gyms, millions of mentorships. We can all be successful. It's just.
Mate, so true. Like, the thing I always say is, like, I never, ever silly myself with negatives in business. Like, I think it takes you, like, I think that comes with experience. I think, like, when you've been kicked and punched a few times and, like, you've been through challenging situations, like, you just become so unaccustomed to, like, or so accustomed, to, like, not reacting to it. And now, like, we spoke about it at that, like, webinar, but, like, we focus on the circle of influence and control at all times. So, like, the circle of concern is, like, oh, this client could be leaving at the end of this month. How am I going to replace another client? Like, it's like dwelling on things. Like, I don't even really watch the news because I like to just keep like my economic mindset clear of like bullshit.
It's not great, isn't it?
Exactly. And the good thing about being in Dubai is like I don't watch Dubai. I don't even know if they've got news, right? Because I don't turn on the TV channels, right? And I've got like all my notifications off. I only go on social media when I want to and all that sort of stuff. So it's like I never ever concern myself with things that are not in my control. So like if a client is going to churn, for example, and I challenge them, they still want to churn, cool, I've done my bit. It's now how do I replace that client?
Yeah.
So it's nothing, like I never, ever get bogged down with anything negative. It's always just how do we move forward from here? Yeah. So like we could have, let's say for talking sake, we turn around tomorrow and half our client base leave. Right? I don't think that's going to happen, right? But if it did, because I've also got this saying that anything that can go wrong will go wrong in business. So it's like, how are you going to react to it when it happens? Like, what's your plan for when shit goes wrong? So for me, it's like, okay, yep, that's shite. I would feel it personally. Of course I would. Like, we're human beings. But I would quickly park that and just be like, okay, so how do we get another 30 clients? And there is solutions to every problem. I believe that most people that don't have solutions to their problems get too bogged down with what the problem's done to them instead of like how they respond to it.
Well, that's my biggest problem. I get massively stressed, and then that's why I've got Nikki here, and she like brings me down. And she's like,
Nikki's so calm.
Everybody treats her like a therapist because she's like a therapist, and even for me, she just like says the right thing, asks the right thing, and it's like, you're right. That's it. So and we moved past it. So
when she used to work in New Age, I used to just say she just gave off like pure maw energy, pure maw energy. So it was like if I was stressed or like I was going through something, I would just talk to Nikki and I'd be like, feel instantly better.
She makes everybody. She gets roasters gravitate towards her because she makes everybody. I say that to her all the time. I'm like, fucking hell, man.
How do you get caught with him again?
But as well, she needs to take the good to the bad, doesn't she?
100%.
But I wanted to touch on. You said, don't want to get caught up in negatives, but I want to touch on a negative because people fucking love the negatives.
I used to get pulled into it.
You don't need name names and stuff like that. You're obviously been involved in mentoring and coaching and stuff like that for a wee while. What's the what? Because it might not be when you were in a program or whatever, but you've got plenty of clients there. What's the worst thing you've heard from a client or that's came from a mentor in terms of advice or they've told them to do? You've already touched on like lie about your marketing, but is there anything that tops that? Like.
Let me think.
I know it's on the spot, to be fair.
That's very on the spot, but there will definitely be one. So let me think a standout.
The one that I can think of that's more recent is putting your check-ins in AI and let them prompt you on how you should emotionally respond to your clients and stuff like that, disregarding their whole life and everything else that's went on before that, and all the responses you've had. Yeah. So that's what I can think of anyway.
I honestly think if you ever do that,
I mentioned this in Tony's podcast as well, and I was like, fucking hell. But it was recent, so I was like, we need to talk about this.
Genuinely fucking reprobates. I've already explained what coaching is, right? And coaching is very like delicate. It's very like focused around like behavior change. When people go through a process of like transformation, whether that be physical transformation, performance transformation, even like going through a transformation to go from like fucking admin assistant to like CEO of a company, people go through this specific process when it comes to behavior change, and they also go through like an emotional cycle of change as well. AI is not going to understand those processes, right? And don't get me wrong, like people don't even need to have worked with us or went through like the course that we've done to understand things intuitively and instinctively. Because what we say is like we're not here to change the way that you coach, we're just here to enhance it. We're like learning more things. But a lot of people are instinctively already good coaches. So like Jen's taught me like a lot of this theory because like that was her background. She was an accredited coach. She was in leadership and executive like coaching previously. And when we worked together, like that was her job. She was like, you coach instinctively really well, and that's how like we became quite a good partnership over time. So like I took my instincts and what she taught me theoretically to then like put together what we now do in the context of health and fitness. So AI is not going to be able to do that. Like AI, you need that human touch to know instinctivly or from intuition.
I know you spoke to her about this. Did she ever give you did she know about it? I know she doesn't really stays off a wee bit. Was
this before or after she gave birth? I think it was. It was after. It was after. She was definitely off. So no, I've no spoke to her about it. I probably will the day when I see her. But she was just like fucking donkey. Right. Like I think as the world becomes more skeptical, I truly believe that you can be like the opposite that drives change for like the lack of skepticism. So it's like you've got people who are like driving this bullshit that essentially will just like create more skepticism in the marketplace, more confusion amongst coaches. Whereas like if you stand firm by like basic human values, I think like you will naturally just stand out more. And there's a lot of talk as well, like in the mentorship game, even in the coaching game, people are like, you shouldn't be calling out or bashing other people that are like also in your industry and blah, blah, blah. shut the fuck up, right? see if you're genuinely punting stuff that is not high quality, that could do damage to people. If you are...
That's the thing, can do damage to people.
If you're not doing your job correctly, if you don't have like a basic like standard of quality that you can uphold in your delivery, even like the way I hear like some like business coaches and mentors and stuff like that speak to the people they work with, and also health and fitness coaches to their clients, I'm like, I'm sorry, but people need to be made aware of the pure bullshit that's going on. Because put it from this perspective, right? Imagine you said that you were going to go buy a new car, right? And you said, I'm going to go to this car dealership. And then a friend says, don't go there. This guy basically scammed me out of X amount of money for this car I was going to buy. You would expect your friend to fucking tell you that, right? Why should you not highlight that stuff? And like people can come at me and be like, oh, because people have also said, it's well funny, right? I see people posting about it all the time. It's usually other business mentors that are like, it just like makes you look weak and that you're trying to position your program more. I say this all the time. I couldn't give a fuck if you signed up to my coaching program, right? Like I come from a background where I got like relentlessly bullied and picked on as a kid, like to like extremes sometimes, like with gangs coming after me, putting fucking bricks through my mum and dad's windows. I've like been attacked with hit with glass bottles over the head and all that. Like really like picked on, right? I fucking hate bullies, right? I hate people that take advantage of like the position of power they perceive themselves to be in. That's just like a position and a strong belief that I hold. So for me, I will fucking talk about it, right? And it's not to position myself any differently. It's to make people aware. Like, see if I say, and I never name names, right? I never name names. I just talk about like the principles, because I think that that's important. I just basically make people aware of what to look at and what to look out for. And listen, like, see if you want to work with me as a result, cool. See if you don't, also cool. Like, I know for a fact that I will be able to get clients like the way that I normally get clients anyway. It's not that drives me getting clients. It's the results. It's the way we do things. It's the way in which we like take people through this process. So like, I'm like, and it's why we do it, right? It's because people can tell we've got that like kind of like maybe like moral stance towards things. But like, that's not what fuels people coming in, right? That just fuels more awareness for people to make the right decision on what they should do, what they should focus on. Like if people are telling you to lie in your marketing, I think coaches need to be made aware that that's not the fucking right thing to do. You know what I mean? And see, because we do coaching as well and we understand what that does to you psychologically over time, how that impacts your behaviours, your beliefs, the confusion it can create within you, that like we know the impact it can have on the human. That's why we need to make people aware of like, you really shouldn't be doing this shit. Because we think in complexity and like the layers it goes down. So it's like we have a responsibility if we have this information to share it and the impact that it can have on you over time. If you go so far one way from who you truly are to just follow advice blindly that these people are telling you to do, that could actually make you build a business that you fucking hate and also feel like a terrible cunt in the process of doing it.
And if somebody takes offence to it, then they were obviously doing it.
And I'm also not responsible for your fucking feelings.
That's it. I know, it's madness.
Because mate, people have aimed things at me, right? Like in the space already. Because like it just happens, and I'm just like, sound. Like I actually know you're talking to me, and I'm sound with it.
I know the thing is, like social media now, like people just aren't afraid to like put anything out there, whether it is just people, well, they're actually doing it or it's fake accounts or whatever.
And that's the thing, like,
going to be backlash.
I will genuinely have a debate. Like a guy reached out to me that used to be in like a mentorship previously that we were on. That mentorship, like we now know we've spoken about it. But he was like, I'm actually putting on a show, like a podcast show where basically I get like different fitness business coaches on to basically like talk about or like debate like their ways of doing things.
Right, okay.
So when he said that to me, I was like, fucking course I'll come on. Like I'm not going to be a shite bag and like
and
talk about it online and then not go and debate in person.
That would be fucking class, man. That is like, I don't know, mentoring boxing matches
and
in its own way.
And the thing is, I'll never like attack the person. So like, doesn't matter how you look or like whatever it is. Like I'll have a debate on the topic of conversation. Right?
It's about the theory, the tactics, the whatever.
100%. So I'm like, at the same time, it's like you can tell me like by putting this online, it's the wrong thing to do, and you might be thinking it's like to like think me my own agenda. But I would genuinely happily debate like the nuances to it. Like I'm not going to like feed away from it or shy away from it because it's what I truly believe in, and that's the difference of it. It's like I believe in the impact that we can have, and I also know there is genuinely great mentors out there. There's other people that do a fantastic job, and they also, if you ever find them, you'll see that they kind of like approach things similarly to the way that we do things, because it's like the impact and the mission that they're on and like how aligned to it that they are.
Yeah. And
I think the other people that maybe aren't like that, they're never going to know what that feels like that pull towards it. All they'll think is like, well, if you're highlighting these things, you're just going to stop us from making money.
That's class. I would love to watch that.
I know.
if it ever actually comes to fruition.
I'm waiting for more details, so hopefully it does happen.
Right, okay.
I don't even know who I'd be on with, so like that would be a fucking like a good unveiling.
Straight away, you and Phil. Regardless, it would be good. I think it would be. It would fucking be a hit. I think
100%. So yeah, there's a few people I could think of like off the top of my mind who'd really like to debate with. But
definitely,
we'll see if it comes about.
Well, that was going to be the next thing. I was going to say, what's next? Well, we know you're going to be in mentoring boxing matches. What's next for Mark Strathern for Built for Business? You got other stuff you can enlighten us to or whatever? Or?
Yeah, well, mate, I was at a retreat just before I came here, as I said kind of earlier on, and I had like a massive insight, right? So the insight was that I'm the bottleneck, right? So like we're in a really good spot in regards to like, we know where we're going, we're making headway there, like at the pace that we should be. But I've always felt this from the beginning. I'd never like said it right. So like basically at the retreat, we were like presented with tasks we had to do. And the tasks were like, where's your business right now? Where do you want to be in X amount of time? What's the blockers right now? Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I don't really have many problems, but there's these things that I'm like slightly concerned about for the future that I want to front load and be proactive with and get ahead of before it happens. So like I presented for maybe like 20 minutes, 25 minutes or something like that. And none of my questions got answered because they were just like, you're the fucking problem. Right? So like essentially, I've had this thing in my head where I've probably believed that I couldn't scale this business to the heights of other mentors, still doing it in an ethical way. So like I almost like had a belief of like, if I'm going to do it in the way that we do it currently and it's going to be right, then essentially there's always going to be a cap of what that looks like.
Yeah.
And I'd probably never said it out loud because John, the guy that invited me to the retreat, always said like, you're as straight as an arrow. And then he just continued this time by saying, that's your fucking problem. Right. And then his business partner chimed in. So he's in like property. And he sold his last business for like 7 figures. He does like over 100K a month. And he was like, what he's trying to say is basically like, you are probably fearful of success because instead of like becoming the person you need to be to achieve the goal you already have in place and you're working towards, you're afraid of who you need to be to become, you're afraid of who you need to become to go beyond that. Because everything that you've seen to go beyond the point that you're initially aiming for essentially has turned other people into sellouts, people that like prioritize the money over the mission. They become just a bit like ruthless. You know what I mean? They lose that personal touch and all the rest of it. They were like, that's your problem. They're like, you need to remember that you are you and that you'll always find a way to maintain that like quality and standard with the way in which you go about it to scale further. Because we always say to our clients, like the minute that you say you only want to get to X place, as I said earlier on, like you limit your potential by putting a number on something, you also limit your impact. So they're like, you're telling us impact, but you're also limiting by only saying we want to get to this point. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you're so fucking right, man. Like that's the feedback I love. Like I love taking that shit on the chin. And I was like, you're so fucking right. You're actually so bang on. Because like I've had that thought in my mind before. Me and Jen have been so busy that I've actually never even communicated it to Jen because like we were on a timeline to get things finished before she went on mat leave. She's also pregnant. She doesn't need me fucking like having a mini breakdown, basically like falling into like a multiverse, right? Of like, these are my thoughts, and what if this happens, and what if that happens? And I'm a very like
and you need to go into therapy with Jen.
And I'm very much like, I don't like to make assumptions on things that haven't happened yet, but almost like kind of have been, like subconsciously. And it's not had me like pulling my punches in anything we're doing just now, because like I said, we're like growing at a very reasonable rate, but we're very much like on track to achieve what we want to achieve in the time frame we'd initially set out. But at the same time, I've not been proactively thinking beyond that because I've like just said almost like the game's done when I get there. Yeah. You know, and it's mainly just because of this fear of success, probably as they like to call it. Mainly just because they're like, you're worried about what needs to happen for you to go there. So it's just gave me like a pure new lease of life, man, to like just find ways in which we can maintain everything we currently do, but just scale beyond and have a bigger impact. So for us right now, there's not going to be much more changes. Like there's more things that we want to do from like an impact perspective, like free things we want to do. Because like I genuinely believe that whether someone buys from us or not, it's not the goal. Like we want to like coming on this podcast and like you creating this podcast, like we've got our own YouTubes. We want to create as much free advice for people to make it accessible that even if they never work for us, work with us, that they can essentially like pick that apart and like use parts of it to like build their businesses and stuff. Yeah. So for us, it's just like doing more of that. While we still continue to grow through the channels that have been working for us, and then look at how we can then start to expand, like probably from a team perspective. But it needs to be the right people under the right terms. So I think where these programs have probably got it wrong previously is that they have maybe like hired people that don't have that thing, like that thing about them, and they've maybe not built their own like bigger kind of successful coaching businesses.
Yeah.
I want to hire like experts. Like I am not wavering on the quality of the coaching that's delivered to our clients.
Aye.
So if I need to pay someone significantly more money than, for example, like I was paid when I was in that position, I'll do it.
Aye.
Because if that's what it takes to maintain what we've built, which I think was probably a bit of the issue. Like I've seen the model previously, and the models were always like, let's try and get as much work out of you for as little cost as possible type of thing.
Yep.
Whereas I'm the opposite. I'm like, I will pay for someone really fucking good. So that's probably the goal for us next. When that will happen, it'll probably need to be when Jen's back, Matt leave, and all that sort of stuff. Because I am literally snowed the fuck under, and like that's why.
And
like
you were only just in Greece there, so you maybe need to process it a bit more.
I need to process. I need time to like really digest it. Because this week's just fucking all over the shop. Like being back in the UK, it's just like it's always so busy. And I always love to like maintain standard deliveries. So like if I need to fucking like work to 10 o'clock tonight to get everything done, I'll do it. But also that's not optimal all the time either. So for me next, it's just making sure that we hit our targets by the end of the year, which we're on track to hit while Jane's off, and we maintain that standard delivery. And then we basically look at how we can achieve what the goal was for the end of next year, probably by mid next year. Because then that'll be the point for me where we like break through that whole like, that's the limit you set yourself. So it's like we would need to be forced to hit a new limit by the end of next year.
Yeah.
What about you? I know you obviously alluded to the gym and all that sort of stuff, like the next gym being opened in like, say, 4 years.
Yeah, well, I want an easy end to the year, to be honest. I'm
the same to that stage where you're a bit tired
I've got a mad week where I've got 3 podcasts this week.
Fuck's sake.
And then try to get set for the seminar and make sure it's my first kind of decent sized public speaking. So I need to be fucking decent at it.
You never spoke the last one, did you?
No.
No,
this is my shite bag, that's why. I just did like the kind of comparing in between.
Yeah.
You were obviously you were there. So I don't know how it'll go when we speaking to a larger audience. So
it's fun. When you get in your groove, you'll be fine.
I need to get you in, hopefully it's all right. But we're covering everything that we just spoke about. So.
Aye.
And then easy into the year, hopefully. And then kind of undecided, to be honest, about how much I'm going to push this education stuff or not, or because when I was up here speaking to Dale, we had this big chat about it was when we recorded the podcast.
Yep.
So recorded the podcast, listening to Hormozy on the way back, and had a pure epiphany because he was saying when you've got a business and you start to focus on all these other things, the main thing gets left behind and doesn't grow as much as you want. And I was like, oh, fuck.
So you really need to you need to like almost like really establish the first thing.
And I was like, I'm just doing that, innit? So I was like, I need to focus on the gym. That's the priority. So still going to do the podcast. The education stuff might happen slowly, but I'm not putting everything into it because I was getting mega. I was on prep and doing all that stuff, 2 kids and stuff.
Must be stressed.
I was getting mega stressed that I wasn't getting anything done. And Nikki's like, again, voice of reason. Why are you doing this to yourself? Like, you don't need to do it then. And I'm like, I don't. You're right. So that's in the back burner.
Thank fuck for Nicky.
I know, because I just like to fill my plate with so much, and then it gets really, really hard to do it. I just don't make it easy myself. So I need to focus on the things that we just spoke about, with like being better at email marketing, get a referral system in place, whether we do more ads or whatever for the gym, that kind of thing, and then it'll be scaling from there. Another gym. So on.
There's a lot more there's more avenues to capitalise on currently for like the gym, which if you get it right, like the gym could be in a completely different position in like 3 months' time. Yeah. Like how many more members do you think you could fit in?
I don't know, because when I spoke to other places that are like independent gyms, similar kind of style to us and stuff like that, they're a similar kind of size. Some of them get like 1,200 members. I'm like, how the fuck have you got 1,200 members? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't really know.
Aye, it's almost you need to almost like dip your toe in the water to kind of find out.
When I speak to them and tell them what we're at, they're like, that's fucking class for being 18 months or like a year when I spoke to them and stuff like that. So we'll just need to see what happens, to be honest.
The thing is, it's like that whole, like, you're in a really good spot for, like, where you are because you've not long, like, launched, but I also think, like, momentum is so key. So it's like, if you start building momentum, fucking capitalise on it and, like, you know what I mean? Rinse it.
There was a point last year when we were growing, I was like, fuck, we might need to cap it because you know what it's like.
Yeah.
500 people join and they're all coming.
Yeah.
Fuck. But 500 people are coming, but 250 are just kind of sitting dormant.
Yeah.
There's space.
Yeah.
And that's always the case. It's like, it's how commercial gyms have 3,000, 5,000 members. Because fucking only 1,000 of them are using it. Like,
but you also want them all using it.
So, like, of course.
No, but I know.
A larger amount will use our gym though, because people that come to our gym probably want to train.
And they take their training more seriously.
They take it more seriously.
And also there's the whole like, what time's busier than other time? Like, you're always going to get your peak times, but it's like, what if we can get more people on board that train in their lunch and fucking, you know what I mean?
That's the other thing I was thinking. Should we have an off-peak membership? Am I just adding more stupid things? And like, so it's.
But there's things that you can do. Like, there's things that you can even do marketing specifically to like attract people. Like for different. Like, again, that's something we could probably talk about more in private.
Well, that's how I spoke to you about potentially coming on board or whatever. So we'll talk about that another time.
Aye, but like, to be fair, the people are probably in the podcast like, tell us the juiciness. But I don't know if we've got much more time, do we?
Nah, we'll wrap things up there.
How long has that even been?
Nearly 2 hours, to be fair.
Fucking
we're
hell.
at half one. So
Jesus.
I was going to wrap it up there anyway.
Class.
So we're good. So do you want to let everybody know where to find you?
Yeah.
Websites, landing pages, whatever.
Everything.
I'll put things below, obviously, but
aye. So we've got a Mark Strathern _ on Instagram. I was like, I'm trying to think of all my channels at the moment, but we also have a business page called Built for Coaches _ on Instagram. Jen, because she's part of the business, so like you might want to follow her, and you know, like she's very smart in areas that a lot of people are not smart in. So she's at coach.with.jen on Instagram. We have YouTube channels. So Jen's YouTube channel is just Jen Rolich. Mine is Mark Strathern's channel. We also have a Built for Coaches podcast. I think that's everything for now. Yeah, I think that's everything for now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on again, mate.
Thank you, mate. Thanks.
Hopefully we'll do it again another time.
Fucking right. I'm back at Christmas. Let's put volume 2 in already.
Definitely. Cheers.
Class.